Right, everybody. Hello, good evening. I'm coming on for a little test. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I am in Agni Bay, I think that's how you say it, or Agni Bay, and I can't see whether I've got Wi-Fi or whether I've not got Wi-Fi. So I thought I might just try this as a little test and see if anybody comes on, and then you can tell me whether you can hear me live or whether you can not hear me live. Or I'm just going to come on and... have I got a signal? Have I got any signal? Can you see me? Anybody who's watching, can you see me? Can you hear me? I don't know whether to use Wi-Fi. I don't know whether to use a light or not. But if anyone's there, would you just let me know whether you can see me or not? And whether I'm jumping or skipping or whether I'm... Oh, I can see some heart bubbles going up. But I'm sorry that I'm not... As I said, when I introduced this, we're just going to have to go... I'm going to have to go with the fact that I'm going to have to make peace with whatever happens and what doesn't happen this week. So, oh, I can see comments. Dora's there. Hello, Dora. Hello, lovely. So, I'm going to go with this. And if it doesn't work, I'll come back and I'll do it all over again. And it's absolutely fine. And I'll make peace with whatever happens. So, hello, everybody who is watching this live, or whether you're watching this on replay, do let me know. Do jump on and say hi. Either way, whether you're watching this live or whether you're not. I know there's been quite a few people who've joined the Heal Yourself Happy Hub in response to the Unlocking Peace series. So I'm so delighted to have you here as part of this beautiful community. I'm Ali Mortimer, so I'm just going to do a brief introduction. So I do apologise for those of you who've been in my world for quite a while. I'm just going to do a really brief introduction to the people who I haven't yet had the pleasure of meeting with, seeing the comments of. I love interaction, so if you're out there, do say hello. Leave me a comment. If you're watching live or replay, I don't mind. I just love the interaction, and I'll interact with you post-recording. So I'm Ali Mortimer. I'm the founder of Heal Yourself Happy. I'm the creator of this hub, and I'm the founder of Heal Yourself Happy, and I started my business in 2018, and my mission has been and always will be to help as many people as I possibly can be happy. I want to create hundreds and hundreds and thousands of happy people. And since 2018, I have understood more and more about happiness, not only for my own happiness, but for the happiness of the clients that I work with privately and in group sessions with as well, in group programs. And out of that, I've realized that happiness is a completely unique thing. It's unique to every single individual. As we go through life, happiness comes from different sources. Happiness comes from the beautiful relationships we have with loved ones. It comes from connection. It comes from feelings of belonging. It comes from having a sense of purpose. It comes from understanding and feeling really connected with your soul purpose and understanding your career, making a difference, adding value in the world, whatever that means to you. It's happiness feeling secure financially, having financial freedom. It's feeling abundant. It's what else is it? It's feeling healthy and well in your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things. Without those things, and especially over the last year, that's taught us that can be a severe cause of unhappiness. So all of that contributes to happiness as well. What else did I think? All of these different things form the Heal Yourself Happy keys, the keys to unlocking happiness. And all of these Heal Yourself Happy keys form the foundations of my work, the happiness principles. And I help people who have been in a really dark space, really dark place where trauma has hit or something has knocked them off their trajectory, their desired dream path, and they feel lost and alone. And I come and help them redirect their way back. I'm the shining light back to the path of happiness. But I also work with people who are just feeling a bit grey, a bit bored. There's not much light going on in their world, and I help them find the shine and give them the sparkle back into their life. So happiness, you don't have to hit rock bottom in order to push your way back upwards to finding happiness. You can just be feeling flat. You don't have to go any further down than that. You can go from just okay to good. You can go from feeling good to wanting to feel so much better. So by way of a brief introduction, and if you want to know more, there's so much more in the guides in the Heal Yourself Happy Hub. You can go and watch my story, you can go and watch my love story, you can find so much more about me. But for today's purpose and for this key, the Heal Yourself Happy key, the peace and calm key, I want to talk to you about how you can unlock peace. So I'm going to be taking you through some key principles, and I probably should have read my notes before I come on. I'm going to be really honest, I'm feeling a bit confuddled because I couldn't find any signal anywhere, and now I found a tiny smidgen, and I really hope you can. And I've just seen my boys whizzing backwards and forwards. Maybe I should show you where we are. I'm in Agni Bay. It's absolutely beautiful here this evening, but you can see, if I show you, I'm sat right at the end of the beach because it's really noisy. But if you can see all the way down. We've just had a lovely supper up there if you want to go that way, and then the bay is this way. There we go. Just a little bit of a background while I take a pause. So the Unlocking Peace mini-series I'm going to be sharing with you over the course of the next 5 days, as long as I can find signal. I wanted to share with you over the course of 5 days some really simple techniques, some simple ideas that you can put into your life to help you feel peace, because peace is something that comes from the inside. I think so many of us, and I know I have in the past, felt that I've needed happiness or peace to find it from an outward source, that I needed somebody to help me find peace. I thought I would need something to happen in order for me to find peace, but actually peace comes from within. Peace is this feeling that comes from within, where everything just feels good. And if you've got that inner peace, then whatever is going on around you, you can feel peace. Whatever's going on, if you've got a stressful situation going on, because life does throw stress at us, if you can feel calm within, you don't need to feel stressed. You can have a stressed life. And you know, the last year has been incredibly stressful. I have to say the last few months have been incredibly stressful for me. So this has come at perfect timing for me to talk to you about peace and calm, just to remind myself how I've managed to stay calm and to feel at peace over the last few months, as we've been doing so much in our personal lives and also in business, and turbulent times. But I want to share with you really some key fundamentals. The next 5 days is going to be about emotional mastery. And I believe that if you can master your human emotions, if you can start to work with your human emotions, that is when you can really find internal peace. And if you can find internal peace inside, then your outer world will be a reflection of that inner peace. Because no matter what chaos, no matter what war is raging outwards, if you feel that peace and calm within, you can navigate those storms. That's my fundamental belief. So over the course of the next 5 days, I'm going to be talking about 5 of the key human emotions that can disrupt our peace, that can disrupt our feelings of calm. And this 5 days is a precursor to my Calm for Life program. And my Calm for Life program is going to be 7 weeks of a stress-free summer, and that starts next week. We've got an incredible number. Really blows my mind how many people, the minute I said Calm for Life, just said give me the link. We've got a beautiful number of people in this online program already. It's going to be running live every week over the course of the next 7 weeks. I'm going to come and talk about that later, but this is the pre-work. For those of you who've already registered, who've already signed up for Calm for Life, this is your pre-work, because we're going to be building on this over the course of the Calm for Life program. If you don't want to do a program, it's okay. The information that I'm going to be giving you in the next 5 days have been the keys to unlocking peace in my life, and that might be all you need for the time being. So I'm going to give you all you need right now for the next 5 days. So it's going to be, what have I said here? I've reminded myself to tell you that this unlocking peace over the next 5 days is going to be so incredibly useful in isolation. If you want to deepen your understanding of emotional mastery, then Calm for Life is a program for you, and I'm going to talk about that over the course of the next 5 days. I'm going to pepper it in, and you can jump in at any point that you want to. So I'm just going to reiterate that I believe that life can be stressful, but you do not need to feel stress, and I'm going to teach you and share with you the principles that I have used and learned over the course of the next 5 days to do that. But first of all, I want to start off with a few really overarching principles that I want you to think about before I jump into our very first human emotion. And talking about human emotions, that's all I want you to think about over the course of the next 5 days, is that every single emotion is a human emotion, and it's a good thing. For those of you who were with me last year, I shared one of my meditations, which was Rumi and the Guest House. Every emotion should be welcomed. Every emotion that we feel is just a sign in our body that we're thinking something, that we've been triggered by something, that we need to recognize and lean into and ask ourselves those questions. What is this feeling trying to tell me? What do I need to learn from this? And what can I do to feel peace from it? They are just signs for us to learn. The other important thing to know about human emotions before we go deeper into this is all human emotions, feel them. One of the most dangerous things that I've ever learned is that when I felt a human emotion is if I trap it. If I do a very British thing and if I just say, no, stiff upper lip, lock it inside, shut it down, put it on ice, I'll feel it later. It's one of the most dangerous things that you can ever do. The best thing that you can ever do with an emotion is look at it, greet it, say hello. What are you trying to tell me? And then you let it go. And you release it. You have to let it flow. And for those of you who've been in my world for a long time, you'll have heard me say this many, many, many times before, that feelings are just an energy within your body, and all energy needs to flow. It's an energy in motion, an emotion. That's a feeling. So we have to let it go. Don't trap it in. Don't hold it in. Let all of your human emotions flow through you, whatever it might be. So bear that in mind as we go through these. I'm so pleased that you enjoyed Rumi's meditation. It's still one of my favourites and I always go back to it. One of the other things that we can often do is when we feel a human emotion is that we can compound it. So rather than trapping it, we can feel an emotion and then we layer another emotion on top of it. So for example, if we're feeling angry or if we're feeling sad, we might say, I don't want to feel that emotion. I'm so frustrated, I'm feeling sad. I'm so angry at myself for being mad. So you trap and compound it. I've got a small child coming, hello. You okay?
I'm good. Yeah, we're just having pudding.
They're having pudding. Did you want to come and say hello? You're going to come and say hello and show everybody your brown face? No, just say hello and then you can leave me.
Hello.
You say hello. Off you go.
Bye.
Thank you, sweetheart. I'll be back. Not long. Be careful. Have fun swimming. So that's the first thing I wanted you to just remember. Excuse me for the familial interruption. The wonderful thing is having an online business is you can work from anywhere and you can have your family around you, but sometimes they can be interrupting and they can break your flow of thought. But I'm going to just reset myself. An emotion. So yeah, we don't want to compound emotions, which is where we layer emotions up. So your original feeling might be one of sadness or one of anger or frustration, and then we could get even madder at our sadness, or we can get madder at our frustration, or we can just start to layer these all up. And what we do is that's how we trap the emotion in, and these things can then get more and more angry. So I often like to think of if we go back to Rumi's meditation, which is welcoming all of our feelings in and greeting them like a guest. If we don't greet them like a guest and honour them, if we lock them away in a room, that emotion is going to start banging on the door wanting to get out. And it's going to get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. And then it feels like it's going to explode and it's going to erupt. And that's when we shout at the kids. That's when we make silly decisions because we've got so much noise going on in our bodies and in our mind, and we can't hear. We can't hear rationality. We can't feel compassion. The noise is too great. So the first thing to remember is that all human emotions are just human emotions, and we need to greet them and look at them for the signs. We don't trap them, we don't ignore them. We look at them, we welcome them, and we say, hello, how can I help you? We let the emotions flow, whether that be bashing a cushion to let the anger out, whether that's crying and watching The Notebook to let it go. There's so many things. So first thing I want you to recognise is that all emotions are just human emotions, and it's okay to feel them. The second key overarching principle I wanted to share with you before we get into the meat of the first human emotion I want to discuss with you tonight is that all feelings are born from a thought, and this is where the emotional mastery comes in, because if you can master your mind, you can be responsible for your feelings. You can take charge of how you're feeling. You can change your feelings. You can really master that peace inside. So Eckhart Tolle, I have to write this down every single time, but I love one of his quotes. And I love his quote that says, the source of unhappiness is never the situation itself. It is our thoughts about the situation that is the source of our unhappiness. Our thoughts are the cause of the unhappiness, not the situation itself. So for example, I was feeling very nervous, very stressed about coming away on holiday because my thoughts about the COVID situation and the number of tests we had to do and whether we were going to get here or not get here and what we had to do and what I had to remember. It was my thoughts about the whole situation, not necessarily the situation itself, that made me feel stressed. So what you can do, and I'm going to talk to you about this more as we go through the next 5 days, but if you can start to recognize the feeling that you're feeling, then move yourself back up into your head and say, what was I just thinking? Because you are in charge of your thoughts, of your mind. And if you can change the thought, if you can find a better feeling thought, if you can find a thought that's going to make you feel better, then you're going to help you find that inner peace. So for example, through the last few weeks, I've been just saying, I am going to choose to think that everything is going to be okay, and we are going to get on that plane, and we are going to get to Greece, and we are going to be in Corfu, and I'm going to be doing Unlocking Peace from the most beautiful beach. And then that made me feel better. It made me feel at peace. I trusted. I chose a thought that made me feel better. So that's my second overarching principle that I want you to take forward as we go through the next 5 days, that all of your feelings are based on a thought that you had in your mind. So if you start to feel, question, what was I just thinking? How can I change that thought? The third overarching principle that I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that you can actually walk with multiple emotions at one time. There's a misconception that you can only feel one thing at a time. And I know that not to be true, because in the weeks that my mum was dying, I was feeling intense sadness and pain and loss. But at the same time, I was able to go forward with laughter and feel so much gratitude for the fact that I was sat with my dad and my sister in the same room. You can walk with joy and sadness at the same time. But so many times do we let sadness scupper our joy. And yet we never, or rarely ever, let joy disrupt our sadness. So it's just about understanding that you can walk with multiple emotions at the same time, and you don't need to get frustrated with yourself or feel guilty. Like I could have allowed myself to feel guilty for feeling joy in those moments that my mum was dying. You don't have to. You're allowed to feel multiple emotions at the same time, and in fact it's a good thing. You can have multiple emotions going on in your roomy house if you've done that meditation, and if you haven't, I'm going to drop a link in so that you can go back and do it. So those are the 3 principles I wanted you to think about. That feelings are signs. Recognize your feelings. They're a sign that you need to recognize that there's something that needs attention. Feelings are what shapes us into the people that we need to become. Feelings are a sign that something needs to be looked at, something needs to be questioned. The second thing is that we don't trap emotions, we don't compound emotions. That can be incredibly dangerous. Feelings come from our thoughts, and if you can start to change your thoughts, you can change your feelings, and that's where you can find the peace within. And then thirdly, this last one is you can actually walk with multiple feelings at the same time. So when we're going through the next 5 days, I'm going to talk to you about 5 of the key, most disruptive emotions that can disrupt our peace. But you can walk with multiple ones at the same time. And just to finally say, all emotions are human, and it's okay to feel all of our emotions. This is where you have to think about that compounding emotions. Don't compound your emotions. Don't trap emotions inside by feeling guilty about feeling sad, or guilty about feeling angry or frustrated or ashamed of guilt or anything. Let all of your emotions flow. It's okay to feel. That's why we're here. We are human, and it's okay to feel those. So, shall we get on with it? Mastery of our emotions is what is going to bring us peace and what is going to bring us inner calm. So the first emotion that I want to talk to you today is all about the emotion of panic. Panic and fear and potential shock. So the first emotion that I want to talk to you in the Unlocking Peace is P for panic. And alongside that panic, I'm also going to be touching on fear, and I'm going to be touching on shock. So this is when we think about this emotion. I'm just looking at some of the comments. I'm going to come back to some of the comments. I'm going to keep in flow and then I'm going to come back. But Trisha, I'm just noticing that you say you'd love to change your thoughts that are causing you to be anxious. So I'm hoping that over the course of the next 5 days, listen to what I've got to say and start to put into practice some of the practice that I'm going to talk to you about. Or if not, then I would invite you to come along and join the Calm for Life program. And then I'm going to be talking about that in much more detail. But watch this space. I'm hoping that you'll get everything you need from this. Otherwise, if not, come and intensify it further in Calm for Life. So the first thing I want to talk about, I'm getting some little signals here, is panic. When we have that blind fear, when we go into shock. So some of the examples that I can use are when I saw my son, who was just walking. He was 18 months old and I was pregnant with Willie, and he fell into a bucket that was cooling cold drinks, and he fell in head first, and I could just see his face, and he was looking up at me through the water, and I stood there in blind panic. I don't know what to do. My 18-month-old son is like underwater looking like a fish through a goldfish bowl, and I think I just screamed, and the next thing I knew, James came along and lifted him out by his feet, but I was stood still by panic. It's when you can't do anything, that panic that just stops you. Other times that I felt panic are, the time where Willie was born and they told me that he was failing to thrive and he was going to need to have stomach surgery, and they were going to have to take out his stomach and his intestines and then put them back in together properly, because apparently he had an intestinal loop and it was all mushed up, and that was why he was being sick all the time. That was panic, that was fear, that was shock, and you were just, it's an emotion that takes over your whole body and you cannot do anything. It's the time when the school rang me and they told me, Mrs. Mortimer, now it's an obvious break. Your son is being taken to A&E. And he had this banana arm. His arm was like a banana. He'd fallen out of a tree. Panic, shock. What do I do? It's the moments when you receive 40 text messages from somebody who you've never met before, explaining that your whole life, or at least the last few years, have been a complete and utter lie. It's that moment of blind fear, blind panic. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing next. It's the feelings of loss. I don't know what I'm going to do when my mum dies. When my dad rang and said, we have an end of life situation here. Blind panic, fear of loss. I don't know what I'm going to do. When we do not know the future, when something hits us from the sidelines and we weren't expecting it, and we go into panic and we go into fear. So in those moments, what do? When you feel that, fear, when you feel that panic, what are the things that you can do? There are a few things. I'm going to talk to you about a few key concepts, and I'm going to give you a few little key items and things that you can potentially do. What I would invite you to do is just start to open your mind to these concepts and start to use them. Because in the moment that you need it, because you can't anticipate panic and you cannot anticipate fear, but what you can do is you can start to practice it in the small bits, in the small moments that you feel them. So that when the big things hit, you know immediately what to do. So the first thing that I would say is that fear is often the anticipation of pain. So again, fear, so in your inner panic, is often because you're fearing something. The fearing the death of Tom, drowning, the fear of Willie going into surgery and dying on the surgery table, the feeling of fear of losing my mum, the feeling of fear of losing my whole entire life in the way and my current reality. It's the anticipation of pain, the anticipation of pain that would come with loss. And it's a fear of anticipation. It hasn't happened yet, it's a thought. Our fear is about a thought of what may happen, of what might happen, of what potentially could happen. And I recall one of my coaches, one of my therapists, talking to me about the peach and the egg, and the concept of the peach and the egg. And you can go through life feeling like an egg, or being an egg, which is where you are strong on the outside. And you put up this outer shell of nothing is going to hurt me and I'm never going to be afraid. And you have this outer shell that's impenetrable, except sometimes it might be penetrable. And the only problem is if somebody shatters that outer shell, then the yolk and the egg and the goo just splatters everywhere and you're gone. And that's an egg. So rather than building an outer shell around you, what you want to do is you want to build inner strength. You want to build that inner core. You want to become a peach. And the way you do that is that you just tell yourself, whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. Whatever happens, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Because whatever happens, I will be okay. Because like the egg, if something comes along and shatters the outside, you'll goo. If you are a peach and something comes along, and while you might be soft on the outside, somebody can take a slice out of you, somebody can throw daggers at you, somebody can bruise you and hit you. But no matter what, it doesn't matter because you're strong on the inside. You're soft on the outside, but you're strong in the core. And this is where you become a peach. So you want to start to become a peach, and the way you can become a peach by knowing you're going to be okay, there's a few things that you can think about here, and a few things that I would like to introduce you to do is just to think about, number one, breathe. Bring yourself into the moment. This is another one of Eckhart Tolle's teachings. Bring yourself into this moment right now. You're okay right now. I am okay right now. I am okay. I am okay. Right now I'm okay. And I remember doing that when my mum was dying. I am okay. I am okay. I'm breathing. I can see. I can smell. I can touch. I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. And I would often use my breath as a way to say I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. And I'm grateful for my breath in and my breath out. And I bring myself into this moment now so that I wasn't fearing the future. And I wasn't projecting the past into my future. I was in this moment right now, and right now I'm okay. And yes, you can repeat it, okay, 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 I'm okay, until you start to believe it. I'm okay. In this moment, I am okay, I am a peach. And I would say that to myself over and over again. I am okay, I am a peach. I'm a peach, I'm soft to the touch, and I'm strong on the inside. And that would help me respond to the panic, respond to the fear, because then I know I'm strong. I'm soft to the touch, and yeah, I'm strong to the core, and I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. And I would just keep breathing and saying that mantra until I knew I was going to be okay. The other thing I used to do as well, if I was getting myself too much into my head, then I would often write out, and when I would do this in the middle of the night, and I did it with Willie, and I did it with Tom, and I've done it multiple times, is I would write out my worst case scenario. Okay, the worst case scenario is this. The worst thing that can happen is this. Okay, in this situation, this is my plan. This is what I do. And I remember I was lying in a hotel room in Vegas, and I thought, I'm going to have to leave my marriage. I'm going to have to leave, and I'm going to have to recreate a whole new life for myself. So if that is the worst case scenario for me at the time, it was, if that is what I have to do for my inner peace, to have peace of mind, to have peace in my life, to be the best mum possible, then this is what is going to have to happen. And this is what I would enact. I would take my boys and I would go and live with my dad, and I would do this and I would do that, and this is how I would do it, and this is what I would do, and I would write a finite, detailed plan. And I knew I'd be okay because I had a plan. If that was the decision that I had to make, I had a plan, and I knew I'd be okay with that plan. It might not be the best plan, it might not be the plan that I dreamt of, but I would be okay. I was a peach. I'm a peach. I will be okay. I am okay. Breathe in, breathe out. I am okay. And I would always bring the power back to me. So breathe, write your worst case scenario out, bring it back to you. What am I in control of? I cannot control everybody. I can't control the Wi-Fi, but I know it's going to be okay. Might have made me feel a little bit stressed, but I am okay. So this is you talk about, what can I control? What am I in control of? And ultimately, everything boils back down to the only thing that I am in control of is my thoughts, and therefore my feelings about the situation. Go right back to good old Eckhart. There's this thought that made me feel something. Okay, what thought could I think instead of that thought in order to feel better, in order to make me feel that I'm going to be okay? I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. whatever happens. If I have to reschedule the first part of Unlocking Peace, I will be okay, and everybody will be okay, and we'll all be okay. And I'll do 2 tomorrow. That's how I got through that, and I brought myself back into inner peace. Whatever happens with Willie on that surgery table, it's going to be okay. He's in the best place possible. He's going to be with the best surgeons in a first world country. I'm going to be okay. Whatever happens in my marriage and with my relationship, I will be okay, because I have my health, I have my sons. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay if I leave this career. When I left my corporate career, I'm going to be okay. I will find something else that I love. I will be okay. I'm going to put myself first, my health first, my family first. I'm going to be okay. I will be okay. I will be okay. I am a peach. I am soft to the touch, and I'm strong to the core, because I know whatever happens, I will be okay. I will be okay. And I am in control of my mind, and I'm in control of my feelings, therefore. So, those are the 3 things I want you to think about. If you start to feel panic, if you start to feel fear, remember the story of the peach and the egg. Don't build up barriers. Don't put yourself into such a restricted way of living. Because if something comes along and hits you, taps you, then you'll be mush like the egg. Build inner strength, build inner peace, so that whatever happens, you're always going to be okay. And when you have that feeling of, I know I'm okay, I am a peach, I will always have inner peace. Because I know whatever happens, I'm going to be able to respond to fear. I'm going to be able to respond to panic, because I can bring myself back into my body, and I can totally and utterly deal with anything that's thrown at me, because I'm going to be okay, because I know how to breathe, I know how to write out my worst case scenario, and then I also know that I can write out my best case scenario. So in every single case, when you've written out the worst case scenario, and you know you're going to be okay, you've dealt with your mind that's panicking, because our mind is programmed to spot failure, to spot doom that's on the horizon. That anticipation of pain. That's what our minds are wired to do. Survival. So, okay, if we've dealt with that, just say, mind, I know, monkey brain, I know I'm going to be okay, I'm a peach, and I've got a plan for the worst case scenario. So now I've cleared that. What's the best case scenario? What do I want to happen? I want to find the most beautiful spot on the beach to do my first part of Unlocking Peace. I'm getting closer and closer to the screen so you can see me as it's getting darker and darker. I know I'm going to be okay. The best case scenario is that everything is going to work out beautifully for absolutely every single thing. And then you go forth in that energy, and that is peace. Know you're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. And finally, the last thing I always think when it comes to fear, 2 things actually when it comes to fear, and I haven't put these on my notes, but I'm going to say them anyway. When it comes to fear, I always think you need to make fear your friend. When I work with my clients who are frightened of doing something, fear is just an emotion that you need to make best friends with, because it's telling you that you are about to do something that you know you're going to do, and you're a bit scared. It's like jumping off the cliffs. Today, the boys have been jumping off really high cliffs, and they're frightened, but they're only frightened because they know they're going to jump in. If they weren't frightened, they walk away and walk down sides. Fear is just your feeling telling you about to do something that's new, and it's okay. You're going to be okay, whatever you do. So make fear your friend. Fear is just like in Inside Out, my favourite movie. You've got joy and you've got all those other emotions. Fear's just there, just telling you, warning you. He's trying to protect you all the time. As I said, fear, panic, blind panic, they're just warning signs that you're doing something you're unsure of, that you don't know the outcome. You're anticipating pain, but you don't have to, because you're a peach, remember? Now you're a peach, you're going to be okay. Make fear your friend. And my favourite book ever is Marianne Williamson's Return to Love. And A Course in Miracles says that when you can return to love, that is when a miracle. When you can turn your fears into love, that is when miracles happen. And I know that that's exactly what happened in my marriage. I was so frightened of loving again. So frightened and fearful, and a miracle happened because I knew I was a peach and I was vulnerable, and I opened myself up to being loved and loving again, and that is when a miracle happens. So return to love when you're in fear. So the first part of unlocking peace is all about panic. It's all about the panic, the fear, sorry, what am I saying? The feeling of panic, the feelings of fear and shock. So I've given you some really great ideas there to go ahead and start to practice now. Start being a peach. Be a peach in the smallest of things. Start to practice being a peach so that when the big things come, you've already got your response. You're already trained. Your mind already knows. It kicks into gear. I'm going to be okay. I'm a peach. I'm not an egg. I'm a peach. I'm strong on the inside. I'm going to be okay. Whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. So listen, it's getting so dark, I don't think you're going to be able to see me, but I hope you've really enjoyed this first session of Unlocking Peace. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Once again, we're going to have to make peace with the fact that I have absolutely no idea where I'm going to be and what time this is going to be and when I'm going to have signal. So I will let you know again when I'm trying to find signal and when I'm about to come on. I also wanted to say that this is the precursor, this is the pre-work to Calm for Life. And some of you know all about this already. Calm for Life is going to be it's a 7-week program. It's a 7-week program on how to bring calm into your life. It's a stress management program, how you can manage stress. And I'm going to be teaching you the key principles that build on what I'm going to be teaching you in Unlocking Peace over the course of the summer, giving you opportunities to practice all of the tools and the tips and the techniques in order how you can bring calm into your life, how you can live a stress-free life. Even when you've got a stressful life, you don't have to feel it. So if you want to know more information, I'm going to leave a link alongside this video. I'm going to post one in the group. The Calm for Life program is going to be a 7-week program over the course of the summer. It starts next week, 7 modules, and it is going to be on early bird for today and tomorrow only. In fact, I might give you 3 days because this is quite late tonight. So 3 days. So until Wednesday when I do Unlocking Peace, let's say Wednesday until Unlocking Peace, you've got it on early bird. It's a 7-week program. It's going to be £111 on early bird, and it's going to be £222 when we go to full price. So 7 weeks with me teaching you how to live a stress-free life. And here is my little monkey. Which monkey is that? I have no idea which one that is. Coming to tell me to come back and have my pudding. So I'm going to go back and have my pudding, and I'm going to love you and leave you. And I do hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me comments below. If you have questions, also leave me questions below, because I will come back and I will respond to them tomorrow. Whether you've got questions about Calm for Life, whether you've got questions about fear and panic, do let me know. If you loved what you've heard tonight, please do leave me some hearts, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye. You ready to say goodbye? You say goodbye? Oh, and we've got 2 sons, so my pudding's definitely there. Bye.